Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Greenhouse 7 Bobcap and discussion. Today,
Mhm.
we are joined by my awesome, wonderful co host that shows up to every single episode, Taylor. How are you?
I'm just loving my new look. It's so natural. And there's someone who's going to show up for Bob Week. It is me. So I'm ready to get into it.
Unfortunately, in case you can't see, Edmund is not here. Once again, we'll be cutting this from his pay. He thinks he knows his contract, but I have my lawyer sister who knows her contracts. And speaking of the lawyer sister, she's not a lawyer, but she is a sister.
Hmm.
Having on the podcast for Bob Week, we could have no other person other than Brady. Brady, how are you?
Hey everyone, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be a little mean. And I'm excited to just show everyone the hair coming out of my scalp.
All
Yes.
right. So,
And speaking of being mean, we just want to say we are not here to judge your drag. Drag is art and art is subjective. However, we are judging your drag as it pertains to the competition.
so please don't get butthurt. This is all
Yeah.
just our opinions, our thoughts. We're nasty. You've seen those two on the show. You know that they're nasty. You've seen 4 sets of podcasts from me. I am nasty. Um, so yeah, let's just jump right into it. Before we jump into the actual show, we have a little game presented by the one and only guest Brady. Brady,
Welcome
you want to tell us
everyone.
what
First
it
of
is?
all, starting off with this, everyone, my name stays in people's mouths, whether it's on the editing floor or in the episode. And was it saying that my camera skills are bad? Well, yes. But was my name still mentioned? Well, yes. Find a season from season 3 to now where I haven't been mentioned. You won't, and that's Impact. But I would love to share with you a game I came up with called Bob or Slob, where we're going to say whether these contestants had a beautiful bob and should rock the bob, or if they're just straight up a slob. How do you guys feel going into Bob or Slob? Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
I'm ready. I've been judging their bobs since they put them on, and I'm ready to make
Mhm.
that knowledge public.
All right. I didn't do all of them, but we can jump in. And I think a strong start would be Mackenzie, Bob or Slob.
Bob.
100% Bob.
Yeah.
Top
No
Bob of
questions
the week.
asked. Hmm.
It is breathtaking. It is the standard that they all should be shooting for, but they'll never achieve.
Yes.
I just think that Mackenzie, truly seeing her in person was breathtaking in the pink bob. It took me back.
I think if Mackenzie wanted to rock this hairstyle as an actual hairstyle,
Mhm.
she could.
I agree. And I think that Taylor Luke should consider for future seasons, if they're going to do a bob like this, and if someone's that fierce, there should be a bonus seed awarded to best bob.
For sure.
Mm.
And Mackenzie's in the running. But anyways, next one. We could start with Dylan. Bob or Slob?
Soft Bob.
Yeah, I was gonna say blob, like right in the
Really?
middle. Right in the middle.
I love Blob because that's what his head shape is giving with the wig. It's giving Blob. I love my sister Dylan, and that beard looks great. Dylan did have a nice haircut, and he threw that bob on a little too far back. So that forehead is giving the thumb people from Spy Kids. But I do think the color's cute.
The color is giving. The color is giving.
Yeah, the color looks great with him, but I do agree. The bob just needs to come down like an inch.
And as for JP, I'll start off by saying this is going to be a bob because it reminds me of all my sisters in the Pacific Northwest, specifically the Portland girls. It's giving Portland. It's giving very chronically online, a little bit scary, will quickly dox you on your Twitter. But it's still fierce. Like, not to mess with that girl.
I also will have to give JP their flowers. I liked it. It's giving brat. I feel like Papa's about to be nasty, so I figured I would go next.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a slob. If we're gonna talk about Dylan's bob being pulled back a little too far, JP's is pulled about 20 more inches further back. barely holding on to their head. The I don't even know. It's just giving needs to be a little more full. If you're gonna rock the bob pulled all the way back, we'll talk about the person that rocks it better later.
Agreed. All right, next one. Stephanie after the Trinity confrontation. Bob or slob?
I'm gonna give it a bob. I know it's pulled all the way back, but she's giving Ronald McDonald realness. The orange, red, and the yellow is giving very McDonald's, and I'm kind of living for it.
There was a clip where Stephanie and Trinity were going at it, which we'll get to, I'm sure. Stephanie's like leaned over and the Bob's leaning a little bit, and she has the vape fully extended in one hand. And I was like, this is just a girl I know from my hometown. Like, I know this girl, and that's why I'm giving this a bob, a mega bob even.
I was gonna say, there's very few things Stephanie could do for me to ever say slob, and this is not one of them. I will also be giving Steph a bob.
Period. Louis? Bob or slob?
I'm gonna give it a bob. It's giving very elementary school librarian. The bob is longer on one side. I want to speak to the manager, but she is going to be your best friend.
Asymmetrical realness for sure. Papa, isn't your wig the same color as Steph? I just realized Valencia has added. Oop.
I feel like mine is pink. Stephanie's is red. But not Valencia trying to read.
I know. She's in here. Louis, I will say the asymmetrical bob, it's giving Tina Belcher meets like Danny Phantom with the like frost white. I think, however, though, I would never, if I saw Louis in a room, I would never approach Louis. I would stay very far away from this person, but I'm still going to give it a bob. The scary bob.
I'm also going to give Louis a bob and a brush. It's giving the one side's pissing me off, but I do love the length. I love the style, and I think it works for Louis, but could also use a brush for sure.
When they shot the clip of all of the players in their bob and Louis going like this, that was killing me. Between the bob and the movement, I just was like, I don't know. That changed my life for sure. The trajectory is different. Aaron.
Bob, Mega Bob, best Bob
Mega
of the
Bob.
week with Mackenzie.
Mega Bob.
I will say, if we were gonna do a lip sync SmackDown, the finalists would be Aaron and Mackenzie, and I think it would be a double Shantae.
For sure. Like these Aaron and Mackenzie could just tell me to do the most atrocious thing, and I'd be like, yes, mommies, on my way.
But that Bob.
Bob for sure. Mega Bob.
Papa, you agree?
I agree. I think it is a mega bob, one of the best bobs. I would love to see her wear this bob the rest of the game because I can see her rocking it the rest of the game.
She might as well keep it on. It brings a sense of home for some reason. And the final bob or slob is the actual killer. That is the killer. There's no other way to say it. Cody, that is not a slob. That is like Bob-rific, like not terrific, horrific. That's the killer.
It's crazy. It's so far from Bob. Like, I don't even know what to say.
And Cody's bald. He should have had the easiest time wearing a bob. He is bald. There's nothing in the way. How did it get like that?
I want to say that this is one of my favorite bobs of the week because it is giving alt rocker chick, very chic. It's giving she knows what she came here to do, and that is to slay, and she will be doing that.
She's in a band with JP in Portland.
If anyone could pull this off, it is Cody, but it just pains me so much.
I want to pull it off. He's not pulling it off. I want to pull it off. Truly horrific, and I'm glad we got to see it for the majority of the round. He did end up pulling it right at the very end.
Yes, he wanted to have his moment.
Thankful for that. But also someone who should just consider maybe taking a little more time, take one thing off in the mirror, and that thing needed to be the bob. But That's my thoughts. Thank you for playing Bob or Slob.
Yes.
Before we finish Bob or Slob, let's Bob or Slob Brady's Bob. That's not really a Bob.
What if I go like this?
It's giving full. It's giving from the
I
scalp.
love the
it's
color.
giving-
I love the waves. That looks great.
Thank
It's not a
you.
bob. That's where
What
you
about-
lose points.
What about this one?
What about this one?
Oh my god! When we were talking about that earlier in the Bob reveal, and I have a bob on under my other wig the entire time we're thinking about Bob reveals, I was like, oh my god, I am not unique at all. Someone else was thinking about this bit.
I'm dead. That's
I'm feeling
too
so
good.
refreshed.
Well, Taylor, you give me a run for my money, but what
I
about
think we
Papa?
look great.
Papa, what about your anti-bob? Taylor, what do you think?
I think I should have left on my Abby Lee Miller wig just to tell him that he's on the bottom of the pyramid for sure.
This is my Bob. She's giving.
And you are in
full.
that Portland band. You are also there. You are so there. I feel like I'm giving corporate now. Like if I had like a button-up shirt, I'm giving at the office. Like a
Mhm.
You're giving. I want to speak to the manager, but you
Oh,
are
yeah.
the manager.
Down. Anyways,
For sure.
Taylor, I think you win best Bob. The curls, the
For
color,
sure.
it's important.
I won't say no to that.
We spent enough time rating Bobs. Now we have to rate people's gameplay this week. So to start off Bob week, we learned that if you want to keep on the Bob, you get a seed at the end of the week. But if you ever snatch your Bob off, you get an extra vote for the round. Would you want to snatch your Bob off or keep it on for a seed?
I think it depends. If there's a move I want to make, I might snatch it off, especially in this season where seeds are such a fucking issue. But also like seeds are power usually. And so I think it would just depend. So
I think similar. I think I would probably, it depends how much I yapped that round. Like I could see myself unfortunately being like very similar to Dylan. Like, you know what? Instead of the banked vote, I'd be like, you know what? I'm going to take my Bob off and I'll give you the extra vote. Or like I would do something stupid if I talk too much, but ideally I would love to keep those to get the seeds because that is somewhere I think a lot of people, especially new players, forget is the seeds.
right.
Yeah.
I think I'd want to keep the Bob on just so I could have it on all week. I think if I was going to rip it off, I would do it like Cody with the last call and just at the end.
Love it.
So moving in to the greenhouse challenge, all challenges this week are Bob related. And this is the Bobularity contest, where it's majority rules about players in the game. They will ask a question and they must write down the answer of who they think in the group that question pertains to. If you vote in the majority, you get to get rid of a brick from one of the other players. 3 bricks, you're done. How would you do? Did you play along in this challenge?
I also played along in this challenge, and I think that them getting Cody out first, I would have been in the same boat. And it's not the Bob bias. It's truly, I think I probably would have been like in a group that went after Cody in that. I don't want him having power right now.
Right. I think it's smart to kind of go with a group for a bit, but I also think it's smart because a lot of times in these challenges, people forget, about some people and they have none. And so you're just like giving someone a win inevitably. So I think you kind of at some point just have to be a little ballsy and make sure everyone is getting at least 1 brick. Especially if you're kind of sitting on the end and your vote might not count because of where you're sitting. I'd make sure we throw in some bricks other people's way.
For sure.
I agree.
So we see everyone choose Cody as going home next because he's upstairs. Do you think it's just because he's upstairs or because these people truly do want Cody to go home next?
See, I was trying to figure that out because I thought that was messy. One, he's not in the room. So like these bitches are talking about him when he's not in the room and kicking him. Like it was kind of wild. But I think it was such a cop-out. So when I saw Kai put Dylan, I was like, that's real shit. unfortunately, Kai didn't get you an X on someone else. But I was like, you know what, Kai, you're real for that one, not taking the easy way out and really playing the game. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think it's a little, por qué no los dos? Like it's a little bit of both of them. I think that it's easy to always no one's going to want to say, hey, you're going out next if you're sitting right across from them. And because someone just left the room, I think that gave an easy answer, but I think it also gave an easy answer because it was Cody. We've been seeing this build up about people not knowing where Cody's head is at. People were a little bit weirded out when he was in power last round. They saw how hard he was going for the challenge. I think it just was the safest answer could have been because of how everything aligned with him getting out.
I agree.
Yeah, and when I was playing along, I said, oh, I'm going to vote Cody because he's not here, so I am part of the problem. But, anything to get you to hit someone and take away one of their bricks and get closer to the greenhouse challenge win.
Yeah. Agreed.
So what color bob do you guys think was the most chic?
I would say the pink one that Mackenzie had or the blue one that Aaron had.
I agree.
I will say though, Kai, the yellow really did surprise me that the yellow was such a fierce, welcoming, important bob for the storyline.
And I feel like during this challenge, Taylor also tried to ask a few messy questions. Like we saw the, who's out next, who mistakenly thinks that they're running the game, and who's the messiest player. Do you think that we missed out on any names? Are there any names you guys would want to add to the list of what we saw?
I think messy, if you didn't vote for Connor, what are you doing? Other than that, I don't know. Because I feel like in this challenge, I would always want to go with the group and I wouldn't want to speak my mind.
I get that. And I don't know. I see the reasoning for why they all gave the answers, but when I'm looking at that, I think that no one has caught on to the messiness that is some of these players. I think some of them, their mess is still kind of, it's swept away enough because it's still new or it's still early. Dylan is feeding information to everyone, but the way he's doing it isn't incredibly messy. He's trying to play it in a here's advice, I'm looking out for you. But I do think that will catch up to him. And I think Kai is doing it on an even more subtle but direct. It's crazy seeing the juxtaposition. Ooh, not the ad. I had fake lighting on in the background and there's an ad now. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I think that Kai and Dylan are a little bit messy, and I think still.
I guess the only other thing I do kind of want to talk about when it comes to this challenge is not only did someone play Green Thumb, spoiler alert, it was Connor. Connor tried playing it before the challenge was over. I guess my question to you guys is if someone tries playing this Green Thumb before the challenge is over, what do you do? Are you going to try and stay in the majority? Are you going to try and avoid first place? The next question was, who's the smartest player? Are you going to say Connor? I feel like I'd be freaking out.
Not after that. Not after saying it before the challenge was over.
I was a little surprised people still said Connor for that. I'd be like, ooh.
My initial reaction was because Connor got out in fourth, and then it was just the top three, so they were playing for placement. My initial reaction was, baby, I'm throwing this. I want to get third place. I don't want Connor to take my greenhouse spot. He's obviously going to use it because he already tried. So let me just take this on the back burner because he's going to take first.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Something that did happen during the challenge that I do want to bring up because it was a very prominent storyline throughout the whole rest of the episode. Was the whole Trinity versus Stephanie narrative. So for context, in case you haven't been watching, there was a little back and forth between Stephanie and Trinity from the previous round because Stephanie was very emotional and Trinity was like, oh, she had an attitude and tried to walk away. So then when Stephanie sat behind Trinity in this challenge and got rid of one of her bricks, Trinity thought that Stephanie was trying to hit her with her brick.
Which is
insane. Do you think that Stephanie was really trying to hit Trinity with the brick?
No, I don't think Stephanie was trying to be violent there. I think it was an accident. And there. But it was interesting to me that even then going up there, I don't think Stephanie was fully hearing what Trinity was saying. Like, I think Stephanie was like, oh, I need my walls up. Like, it's not necessarily a game thing. I need my walls up. And I think if she would have been like, oh, no, none of that was meant to be rude. And just overall like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like, I've never meant for this to be that way. But Stephanie, I think, was too reactionary and then left the room fairly quickly to go tell other people they're fighting. And if I'm a player and I hear this or see it, first of all, I'd be eating. Second of all, I'd be like, oh, I'm going to use that against them later. I'm going to try and pit them together or pit them against each other. Yeah, what about you guys? What do you think?
I'm probably not going to get too deep myself on this because I think I have a different perspective than you.
Ooh.
Well, that's not the only reason why, but I don't know. I'm just going to say that if I thought someone threw a brick at me, I would be pissed too. Like, I would probably be a little bit of a bitch after that. But at the same time, I feel like it was very clear that Stephanie was going in there. And I mean, she did kind of say, like, why'd you come for me? But also, like, Trinity came in like really hot at her. And we had just seen a clip of her and Cody talking, and like Trinity was like, I'm not in the wrong. So like her mind was already set. I don't think Trinity would have treated Stephanie different had Stephanie come in the room any other way, just because of how hot we saw her already.
Yeah.
And I wasn't the biggest fan of how Trinity was talking to Stephanie. It's a little bit triggering. Mainly because like I feel like after Stephanie was kind of like, hey, why are you coming for me? Like she kind of did come in, just a little bit. Then Stephanie was like, hey, like I don't even know what I did wrong. Can we have a conversation about this outside the room? Like we don't have to make this public. And Trinity was like, no, like I don't owe you a conversation. And was still just trying to make it a thing in front of people. I don't think Stephanie was necessarily storming off to just go tell other people. I think Stephanie just walks away. Like that is just Stephanie to a T. Like if she's overwhelmed in a moment, like she's gonna walk away. I mean, there's people out there, so yes, she's gonna rant right away. But like I think she would walk away even if she was in the yard. I don't know. The whole thing was a little bit icky to me.
I'll say, so we're talking about players in a game and how it is perceived from a game perspective. It felt very like Trinity was trying to gaslight Stephanie into she did everything wrong. And I have said to the people watching with me, Taylor, Edmund, everyone, they both had issues that they could have done better. But like Stephanie came in and tried to apologize and was like, hey, like, look, like, can we move past this? And Trinity's just like, you don't even know what you're apologizing for. And I was like, whoa, like that was a little much. So I didn't like the whole, it felt very mean girly, which I'm all for being mean girly, but there's like a line of mean girl that you don't cross, and it felt like Trinity crossed it.
I get that, and I think not to like skip too far ahead, but that was the heat of Trinity that round. Like you didn't, from there you saw Trinity just the energy drain over the episode, and like the fight fade. And I'm hoping that it's not like something that was outside or like that was in the game that was like it. I'm hoping it wasn't that situation that slowed down her progress, but I think that, girl, you should have channeled that energy elsewhere this round. Like you really should have.
Yeah,
you should have, and that's okay.
I think the like biggest thing was Trinity, even if she didn't really want to accept Stephanie's apology or be okay with Stephanie in the game, like in a game, you just need to be like, yeah, I forgive you, even if you don't, and just move on. Because I feel like that puts so much heat back onto Trinity when the heat kind of got off because she had no seeds. So then it was just like well, now Trinity is kind of in the heat and Stephanie was just up. So let's just put Trinity up to like make it even.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess kind of what I also want to say is that like, I think it could be a learning moment, like I think Trinity's young, and I also am a big advocate that every person's feelings are always valid. Like you should never have to apologize for what you feel. I think what Trinity felt was like extremely valid. I think what Stephanie felt was valid. Like two of them can be 100% valid in their feelings. It's just sometimes like the behavior we use to express how we feel are not the best. And I think that was kind of the situation. I don't think that Trinity went in and was intentionally trying to gaslight someone or manipulate someone. I just think that's how it was coming across. And it could just be, maybe she doesn't know. And I don't think she was trying to. It's just, I don't think the way she handled the situation was the best. But also like, this is a game. It was a weird moment for me. It was just weird.
A lot of factors at play. And I think this
Right.
was Trinity's first time playing a game. So I'm wondering I'm wondering if that factors into, but I just hope we see more moments of Stephanie's passion coming through in the season, because I think Stephanie is so compelling to watch. So I hope it doesn't come out in this format again, or I hope it's not thrown onto her in this way again. But I love seeing an activated Stephanie. I love it.
Oh, for sure.
For sure.
We all love watching the conflict. It's just harder to watch. And I think it was one of those moments.
Yeah.
But I do they did have a little bit of a talk, that we did see on camera. So I hope everything has been mended since. And that just, they're running on no sleep. It's a crazy day. There's probably a lot of factors that went into it.
I had a note on that too. I wrote down Steph Trinity talk game randomly. They were kind of there later in the episode, and then it went into game talk, and I was like, why are y'all pretending like you're gonna work together? You may have been okay, we're good, but let's not play in each other's faces. Go to the next conversation, Trinity. You need to.
Yeah. But we'll get into that part when we get to the strategy with nominations later. Aaron, Taylor, and Kai end up winning the challenge, and Connor uses green thumb and replaces Aaron for first place. How do we feel with this trio in the greenhouse?
Disgusted.
We were so robbed of an Aaron greenhouse. We've been just watching her slowly build and just doing the damn thing in the background. So I was so excited to see her have to make some decisions. But of all people to take it, I don't know. I love seeing Kai in there because Kai is just mastermind. And then who was it? It was Taylor. I wanted to see Taylor because Taylor hadn't been there. I think that's why I was so excited, was that we were getting 2 new people. So I was a little bit bummed that it was robbed by Connor, but TMZ reports that they knew that they were about to be in the jury, so that might have played a role into it.
Yeah.
I just was hoping for a little bit more of the whole green thumb plan.
And I would just like to say, because it has pissed me off because they talked about it since the second round, these people are acting like they're fighting for 8 rounds to make it to the jury phase.
No,
this is one of the shortest jury phases or pre-jury phases in Greenhouse history. These people are acting like they went through war. It's been 2 full days, 100 fly traps.
You could still make 100 mistakes and somehow make it to jury. And a lot of times, I've made it to jury every time I've played. You can fuck up and make it to jury. So it is crazy that they're you're right. Oh my God, we made it! Girl,
no, they're oh my God, we just need to make it to jury. You need to make it 5 more minutes in the game.
Are there only 3 people in pre-jury, or is it 4?
Yes.
For this season, yeah, it was just the 3 before.
3? That is so crazy.
I'm just oh my God. I think that's what's been pissing me off the most about this whole season, is they're acting like they've been days and so many rounds in, and they've gotten rid of Daniel and Seth up till this point, and they're we're so close, we just need 1 more.
Right, I love Daniel. I want to see Daniel play again so badly, because I know that's a friend of mine that I'm I know how smart you are. I know how charming you are. Seth fucked him up. Then Seth got his payback. So far, the 2 first rounds have kind of been a wash. We're kind of still at square one for the game, because who have really had to show their colors and have it affect their game? No one. No,
but you know what? But let's be fair. These have been 2 very crazy rounds.
Yes, which is shocking. Also,
there's been so much happening. So maybe they do feel like they've been worn back. I don't know. Maybe that's why they all decided to get Bob's. I don't know.
I think so.
So, Connor, even though he's first place, takes the sunflower. Taylor is the rose, and Kai is the tulip. Any thoughts on how this greenhouse picking went?
I think good for Kai for avoiding a flower, because she's already done her flower duties. Okay. She's established a little bit of dominance in the game, and it's not blown up in her face. And so her getting the tulip, for me, I was I don't know. And mixed with her confessionals, I just am it's good for me to see I can look at Kai and know for a fact she is thinking strategically. And like, doesn't matter where in the episode, Kai has a perspective on what she would like to happen. So I just am like rooting for Kai. I'm glad she did that. Even if I was a little confused later by some of the Tulip behavior that people approached her with, which we could talk about when we get there, Dylan. I think Kai was smart for it. As for Taylor going for Rose, shout out. I'm glad we get to see some character development there and see, just see what he has to bring to the competition.
Yeah, I think that Kai kind of grew in this moment because we saw she really pushed back the first time she was in Greenhouse, almost to a point where I was like, I'm a little bit worried for like the aftermath of this. But this time she kind of was like, hey, this is how it went last time. Can y'all just tell me if it's going to be the same way this time? And then it turned into an open dialogue almost where they're like, hey, what do we want? And so I think it was also really good. It was good for her. I think it was nice of Taylor to kind of give her that choice to hopefully build some rapport there as well. So
can I mention though, something that I thought was funny was they're sitting there, then they immediately go into like a game talk, which is not uncommon for the greenhouse to do right after they pick their flowers. But Taylor, who has not had to make a lot of decisions or moves, or he hasn't really had to do much yet, sits there and names JP, Cody, Mackenzie, and Trinity to both of them. How, like, to me, it was a little crazy that you're so willing to quickly say 4 names when, by the way, no one asked you to talk about 4 names or even say, like, give me a name so I can choose other names. You have one person to nominate, give one name, and stiff arm the Sunflower a little bit if you needed to, but Taylor just gave way too much information. And I'm hoping that doesn't bite him in the ass, but it might.
Yeah, I think Taylor was like trying to like make up for the fact that like you could tell he's a very like under the radar player, like doesn't want to show his cards. But I think when he was like, okay, like this is my like time and power, I'm gonna let these 2 know like this is what I want to do, and then like these are my targets. Let's just move on. Because now he has that in like the other flowers' heads of like targeting them. And if they put them up, that's also great for Taylor because then more of his people that he would want up are up.
I agree. Also want to point out the fact Dylan comes in right after. And I couldn't tell if Kai left or not by then, but Dylan comes in and asks Taylor and Connor who the target is. Like just straight up like, all right, do you guys have a target yet? And Taylor was also already ready to spill to Dylan too. Like Taylor was just ready to talk to whoever it was. And we saw it play out a little bit that they wanted to be fairly transparent for the round. But I just thought that was so interesting that just so quickly ready to give it up.
For sure. So while we wait for Miss Taylor to come back, we'll give some stats. So moving into the seed and immunity challenge, I thought it was quite interesting that almost every single person went for immunity. Cody, Courtney, Dylan, Aaron, JP, and Stephanie went for immunity, and Louie, Mackenzie, and Trinity went for seeds. Do we think that this is because Connor was in power and everyone's like, oh shit, here we go again? Or was it just everyone doesn't want the seeds because they're going to get put up because they have seeds?
I think Mother Mackenzie played this the best because she has Connor in her back pocket still. Mackenzie was like, nah, I'm good. And these bitches don't even know why I'm good, by the way. But I think I would have done the same thing. I would have played for immunity no matter how early it was with how much volatility there had been. I think that it makes sense why everyone played for immunity. But I think that the greenhouse should have taken note of who played for immunity to establish where their relationships were at. I don't think a lot of people do that in the game. And
I agree.
Connor can look at and be like, okay, I really got to put in the work right now. Like I got to put in the work to make people trust me a little bit.
Yeah. I wasn't surprised that obviously Mackenzie was going to go for seeds. I'm surprised no one's looking at that. And I also, same for Louie because Louie and Connor are good. Very surprised Trinity went for seeds.
Well, yeah.
Especially because she was down there when the very first question is like, who's the best at these bullshit challenges? And it was her. I'd be a little bit worried. And so, especially in the blowout, with the blowout of her and Stephanie, I think I would have went for immunity. But other than that, I think a lot of people going for immunity was not that surprising just because Connor is such a wild card. So it wasn't that surprising to me.
Yeah.
So with the seed and immunity challenge, it is a knockout style challenge where you have to study the images with all the bobs. and some special images on top of the bobs. And if you get it right, you pick the next two to face off, and if you get it wrong, you're out. How would you have done in this challenge? Because I was playing along, and I got like half of them correct.
Same. For me, like I see a challenge like that, and every time I'm delusional and I'm like, oh, I got it. I think realistically, especially if you look at an unscramble a word to fuck ass Bob, I was not gonna make it there. I would have tanked. I could see Miss Taylor doing well though.
I did win this challenge in season 6. But I think I can count a lot faster than I can with memorizing such random shit. I think I would have been so like gagged to I was like looking at the pictures and like thinking like what are these bobs the whole time, that I think I would have been not so great this challenge. But knowing that, I think I would have tried to sorry, someone tried calling me. Oh my god.
Pick up in the bob.
And again. I think I would have tried to sit back and hopefully let someone else answer wrong because of how crazy the questions were. And that would have been my strat.
Papa, what about you?
Any of the little like images after the first round, I was like, oh, like count all those. Like the math one, oh, I ate. I like did it before they even did it. I was like, yes, ma'am. But like the fuck ass Bob one, I would have never gotten.
No.
So I think I would have been just like, I think I would have waited 99% of the time to answer the question rather.
I was thinking the same thing. For it. I would want other people to answer first because you know what? If you get it, cute. If you don't, I didn't do anything and I advance.
Literally, I'll piss 2 people off putting them up, and 1 will go home.
Right.
So
there we go.
But we see Louis win the 2 seeds and Courtney win immunity. How do we feel with Mother Courtney making it to the jury phase?
I know that's right.
0 complaints.
Yeah.
0.
I agree. I don't think she would have been in much danger anyways, even if I didn't hear the conversations they were having upstairs. The greenhouse with each other. I still don't think she would have been in trouble, but yay, Erin advances. I think she has just an interesting perspective on the game that I'm excited to see grow. Like I want to be let in more and see more confessionals, especially because you saw her. What was it? I think it was the first round. You saw her asking questions about the game, like, oh, wait, and how do I do this? And then in the end of that episode, she's explaining it to someone else. So clearly she's smart. And I think the fact she's making it to jury and she hasn't really had to do too much yet, I'm excited for her.
For sure. I do want to point out, because I feel like we don't really talk about Louis a ton, because like all the time that he is in like conversations, he's viewing rather than inputting. But I do think it is important that he has these 2 seeds and like no one's really looking at him with them, because if anyone's going to be able to stack seeds for this season when the talk of the town is always who has the most, I think it could be Louis. And I think he will be a person later on that's going to be very in the know about the fly trap, because eventually that's going to come out. Yeah. So I think Louis is going to be one of those like influential people with it.
Where do you think we're at with the fly trap? Do you think anyone's thinking about it yet, or do you think they haven't got there yet?
Dylan is definitely thinking about it. You know, his head is.
Yeah.
The whole time.
I think we're going to get an early fly trap this season. I do.
I'm excited for someone to join the fly trap sisterhood, to get see next to me and Ross and Thomas, some of the greats. Jessica, how could I forget? That's mother. Don't play on Jessica's name. But yeah, I could see it being an early play as well.
Yeah, no. Could never, well, I should not say that. Would never be a fly trap victim. Don't eat me alive. I don't want to.
All Stars 2, Taylor's done. She's going to get fly trap.
Get her! I don't want to jump too far, so please give me a little sign if I need to go back. But right after the challenge, Courtney and Stephanie sit down alone, one-on-one in the back. And Stephanie, first of all, she tried to patch things up with Courtney a little bit from the previous round. And I was like, good for you, girl. But then she gave Brady tease because Stephanie didn't let Courtney talk. Stephanie was like apologizing and Courtney was like, okay. And Stephanie just kept going and going and going. And I think that is probably going to bite my sisters in this a bunch of these greenhouse players this round or this season, because we're doing a lot of yapping and we're not doing a lot of receiving info. And then after Stephanie finishes spilling her guts about the last round and all that and apologizing, Courtney's like, I'm going to go inside the mosquitoes. I got to go. Which I will say, the mosquitoes were terrible that day. The mosquitoes were insane. I went home with probably 20 mosquito bites. So there's a whole nother layer. There may be a Venus flytrap, but the mosquitoes, that's more dangerous in the game. Or for Courtney, it was an alliance. Anyways.
Yeah, I don't know. When I was watching that conversation, I actually thought it was good for Stephanie, only because I felt like last round we saw her just like rant about like her being in trouble. And I think this round, like, she's done well because, like, I mean, she still is, you have to be careful how much you like hammered in that you're in trouble or whatnot. But she kind of was like, this is where I was at. But she also did a good job of explaining herself and trying to turn it into a game talk conversation with Courtney, saying like she wants to work with her. She maybe could have been a little bit more listening, but I do think that it was more productive than the conversations we saw last round, which is what I think she needed to do.
Okay. Yeah, I think Stephanie is just on her apology tour. Her PR team said, you need to start doing your big one. You need to go get in good with some people, because you kind of see Stephanie just do the same thing to a bunch of people where she's like, I'm so sorry for how I acted last round. Like, I want to work with you. Like, I hope you want to work with me. And then just kind of like moved on. So
she's so Julia. That's all I have to say. She's so Julia.
The PR team really did their big one this week. I need whoever her management is to get me a PR team like that.
I would say the PR team really did work heavy for both Stephanie and Cody. I know this is maybe getting like a little bit out of order, but I think that a lot of people were questioning Cody last round, and similar to Stephanie, we saw him kind of going around and people were like, hey, like, we don't know where your head's at. And he was like, hey, this is why I did X, Y, and Z, and this is how I felt. And so I will give a little bit props to Cody. I don't know if he waited a little bit too long to do that, because I do fear he will continue to be in danger, but I think it was good that he was giving a little bit more insight this round as well.
Yeah, I think Cody realized I need to like kind of lock in and like really start figuring out away from Connor, because Connor does not want me, what I need to do. And I'm glad that he caught on so quickly, because some people will just like be oblivious to it, and then that'll just be their downfall.
Yep.
So.
But speaking of Cody, Connor is starting to make it clear that he wants to target Cody. Yeah, he's telling Cody that he still wants to work with their group of four. So what are our thoughts on that?
I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
I'm not surprised that Connor is doing that. He is that type of player. I wouldn't have been shocked if Connor went to every single person, told them that he was putting up Cody, went to Cody, said that he wants to work with that four, and then Connor ended up not putting up Cody, because that is just something that Connor would have done.
Right. Yeah. I guess I'm just a little bit confused, because I feel like Cody was like 100% on the Connor train, and Connor has just like kicked him off, picked him back up, kicked him off.
I think
Connor I don't know.
Was trying to maybe gain social capital. Like, that's all I can think of is Connor. This round for Connor was I'm going to build trust. I do think Connor could have played it, and correct me if I'm wrong, Cody and JP played for immunity, right?
Yes.
I do think it was the right play, though, nominating two people who played for immunity. And Cody and JP fell into that, which poor JP, he's all worried, which I know he wasn't like super stressing, but JP could have sat on that block, which I am a block star. Okay. I will sit on that chair and delusionally Taylor will say 5-0 Bray. And I still am like, no, I'm good. Trust me. I'm good. Just vote. Just vote.
Just vote.
I get why JP did it. And JP ended up getting seed back in the end because of the partner thing. But I just was like, JP, why did we act out of fear so aggressively when you were told? I don't know. Maybe I'm
I get like where JP's coming from because like I mean it's talked about kind of throughout this like round that JP's like a non-threat and would be like a great pawn and someone that's like easy to vote out. Um but like I do think JP should have just sat on the block and kind of chilled because like I think no matter what it would have been between Cody and Trinity. I think even with JP up, because Trinity would have been like, okay, JP, like we're gonna use our little extra votes on Cody, and then I feel like JP would have made the same deal with Cody to do it on Trinity, so JP wasn't getting any votes. But I don't blame him for wanting to be off the block, especially because like the last few rounds and like the last round specifically was very split. I wouldn't want that to come back on me.
Yeah. I think everything you guys are saying are correct, but as someone who went on a worldwide bitch fit to not be on the block my season, I like get it, especially when you feel like you were in the middle. I get the paranoia that comes with it because you're like, I'm in a really good spot, but you're also like, am I disposable? So I don't know. I think I get it. It's scary to be on a block, especially the round right before jury starts. But at some point, like you cry about it a little bit and then you just got to kind of take it, move forward from it. Like if you're going to take yourself off, just,
Do you think the reason that it shifted away from Cody a little bit and JP wasn't mentioned was because Kai wanted Trinity? Like, do you think it was Kai's persuasion this round? Because I find like when I met Kai and watching Kai, I'm very easily persuaded by her. I'm like very quickly on her team. And I feel like it was so Cody heavy until Kai was like, cute, you guys. I love that for you guys. Everyone's like, oh, okay.
No, for sure. I think because I had a note that Kai is like the silent assassin, like I think more than Dylan, because like she has all this information and like even when she spreads it, it's just like she's thinking about it and not like it's coming from someone else. And you saw it up when the greenhouse, like the flowers were discussing. She's like, I get like that Trinity and Stephanie are like the big people, like the names, and like Cody. She's like, but they were like Trinity and Stephanie specifically were targeted for a reason in this challenge. Like Cody was targeted because it's like the easy thing to do, but like these two like have very specific reasons, like that people still don't like them, but like their names are still out there in a negative light. And she also brings up like the more kind of in the middle people of Louis and Mackenzie that are good pawns because everyone's good with them. So you see Kai really like working this round, and I do think she like single-handedly flipped this round.
I agree. And just to add to that, it was so interesting that Trinity said, I think it was either in a confessional to Connor, she wasn't really worried like earlier in the round. She said, I'm not too worried. But in that same conversation with several other people, Connor says directly to her, like, yeah, it's probably Cody. I don't want any votes on JP in front of a bunch of people. That to me was a little shocking that he once said it to her face and in front of so many people with JP there too. I think that was a little bit of a stiff arm move. And once again, Kai got to throw Trinity out there and then the narrative no votes on JP and the ball just started rolling.
Yeah, I think what Kai has done that's like super, like her performance has been just amazing. And I think what we saw, like we thought it was gonna be a train wreck, and then we're just seeing her slowly just like perfect the art of talking to people and getting her way, because the way she presents the conversation is almost just like, how are you feeling? Or like, what if we don't do that? Or what if we do this? And she's able to just do it so suddenly and so cool, calm, and collected that no one's like picking up on like she's getting her way. Like she almost just makes people think that they are coming up with it, but she's just executing it like flawlessly.
People want to work with her so bad. I wrote down specifically, and I think this is something you guys will be ready to roast our sister for, but Dylan wanted his vote blocked and would immediately give Kai back the banked votes. And we saw it happen. To me, I was like, Dylan's sister, you proposed that. It's not like she asked, like, hey, let's make this happen. Dylan, you gain nothing from that. It's only for Kai to gain, and Kai doesn't owe you anything either because you're asking for it, and she's giving you what you wanted. That was crazy to me, but it shows Kai's game. People are coming to Kai just wanting to be like,
Yeah.
please, Kai, please, what do I do?
You know, there's just something about the art of negotiation, and Dylan just like broke every rule there, you
Yeah.
know? Like, it's one thing for her to ask and him to do it and build rapport that way. And I could see him offering it, but like, why not just, you know, start slow? You always give like, you know, a bid you're not expecting to like her to take right away. Just say like, hey, has anyone asked you for this? If she says yes, then say, okay, well, here's what I can offer you that they didn't. Instead, he's just like, let me give you the sun, moon, the stars without you having to like work at all. Because what I think Dylan could have done as someone who was just on the block is use that as a like to his advantage later. Like use that when he needs it, not just like give away his power like right then and there. But I do think he was using it to build rapport, but I think it was like he did jump the gun. It was kind of crazy.
I get that part. I just think like you said, he jumped to 1,000. He could have even said, hey, Kai, if you block me, we can use this vote. And he stays in possession of it. People have done it with me before in the games, and it works because then that's buy-in from Kai. Kai knows if I keep telling Dylan everything, sharing this stuff, he will give me the vote. Dylan, baby,
Right.
you just gave. You didn't take anything. You just gave. And
Valencia says it best. I love my sister Dylan, but like I cannot condone the things he's doing in these games. In this game, like I thought it was very bold that was like one of the first conversations that you did in the like after noms were made. I don't know. It was just very out there for me, and like I get it. Like him, Kai, and JP are like the little like unknown trio, and they're like working together and whatnot. But like, I would still want to hold on to that bank vote because like just because y'all are working together now does not mean that tomorrow in the next 2 rounds, whatever, you're gonna be working together, and that vote can turn right around and send you home.
I want to add on to that Dylan also said that, like with Kai, proposed that deal with Kai. Well, deal, we'll say. Next to Connor, who then Connor immediately goes to Taylor, Mackenzie, and Louie and says, hey, Dylan's doing this with Kai. Mackenzie's like, no, like what? And then Connor says, Dylan will come with us if Trinity goes, because Dylan was trying to do some work for Trinity, more work than Trinity was doing for Trinity. And now, Dylan, you're getting played. Not only did you just give away a banked vote, potentially, like for no reason, you are being played like a puppet. Like, it makes me worry for Dylan because I think he's really wanting to ride the fence, but he's going to feel the fence very soon in the places where the sun doesn't shine. That's like just what it comes down to.
Yeah, I thought it was like really interesting that it kind of so quickly became a like Dylan, like if Trinity goes, Dylan moves to us, but if Trinity stays, she only has Dylan. Like I thought that was like a very interesting thought process that like Connor and Taylor and Louie and Mackenzie were having, because like it just goes to show that even though people are like, oh, like us Connor and Louie specifically are like, we're not like working together, like they very are working together, and like it's becoming more and more clear that like they want numbers on their side, and anyone else that has like connections just needs to go.
And apologies if I'm like going off into a little tangent here, but I feel like Dylan was the first mention we saw this episode, more or less, of these people who don't want to vote or want to split votes or don't like Courtney. We heard a couple times be like, I really don't want to vote for either. Saying 2 nominees. Yeah, I don't really want to vote for any of you. So Courtney wasn't really sowing her seeds there, like putting her roots in. Dylan didn't want to. JP wanted to split votes at the beginning or earlier in the round. I'm just like, you guys, this has no like consequences you can't come back from. You know what I mean? They're not making it to jury. They are not going to vote you as a loser when you get to the end. So for me, like I do eye roll when I see people split votes on nominees, like every time. It shocks me that people do it so often, always.
Yeah. So before like we get into it, because like we're kind of like in post noms now, Cody, JP, and Trinity were officially nominated. Just for the record, in case you have not watched and you need to know. But yeah, I hate the whole aspect of like, oh well, if you don't like I get like Trinity's reasoning for going around and like campaigning to people that way, because like if she gets the people that are on the fence of wanting to just vote her out more than, you know, JP or Cody, and she could get them to put a vote on each, if she has a few others that don't do it and just keep her, like she could stay. But like, I'm sorry, Courtney, I love my sister. I don't care if you feel bad either way. Suck it up, take the seed, because you're here next week. You are one of the only people that knows that you are here next week for sure. Like, keep that wig on, please. But she's
I
gonna
will,
vote.
yeah, I'll agree with that. I feel like if you are not losing anything this week, there's no reason to not take the seed. If it's not your number one ally, if it's not going to be a close vote, or if you like really don't want to vote either of them, then why like make it so hard on yourself? I get that throwing a vote on each person is a way to be neutral, but it's just like one of those things where it's like, well, I didn't vote you, but you knew I was going home kind of thing. So just take your seed and like pick one of the people to vote. You will be okay.
And girl, lie about it next round if you have to. Like it's so hard to clock that. Just lie about it. Who cares? A plus for Courtney though this episode that happened post noms is we see kind of the official acknowledgement of the Black Girl Magic Alliance between Courtney, Aaron, and Kai, which I could not have picked three people to be in an alliance in the first place better. I love the three of them. They each bring something so different to the game. And it makes me excited to see an alliance where they all three are like really in it, it feels like.
Yes.
Which once again, there's your flowers, Kai. Like girl has an alliance.
I could not name a better final three, to be honest. Like I love all of their games and they are all so different. Like they're all like different kinds of secret assassins. It's crazy.
Agreed.
If they are the final three, I think I would cry, and I think Greenhouse just needs to be canceled after this, because like that would be the best final three that you would ever have, and you wouldn't be able to top it.
And a final four, throw in Mackenzie. Oh, we would not be worthy.
Final five for an easy throwaway. Put in Dylan. No, I'm kidding. To give Kai another point, and again, like shoot me if I'm like going too fast. Kai gives Cody a chance. Kai already I'm ready for Trinity to go since more or less the beginning of the round. Kai gives Cody a chance to explain why he deserves at least jury. That was fierce of her being like, why should we keep you?
No, that was scary. That was not fierce. If someone sat me down in a group of people and said, why do you deserve to be here over the other person, even though there's two other people on the block right now, like we all know that it's coming down to one or the other. Like I want to campaign in private. Like I don't want to campaign in a group full of people. That is like my final speech. That's what it is for.
Yeah.
Like, because if I don't want to work with all these people and I give them my little, this is why you should keep me in here, to jury, now I'm like almost forced to have to work with some of these people because I gave them my word because you put me in the situation. Like, good for her for like trying to get Cody to like talk his like game more, but like time and place, it's like giving very like
not at my birthday dinner.
it's giving very like round one, round two, when people were like in the living room in front of like 8 other people saying, I'm nervous, I'm gonna go up. Time and place, not in front of everyone.
Right.
I get that.
Yeah. But also I think something we didn't really touch base on before was like Kai really was trying to get Cody not on the block this round too. So I think this was her way of just like giving chances. Like Cody, if you're not gonna fucking do it, like I guess I will try for you too. And no one is gonna really attribute that to Kai, I don't think, not at this moment, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Kai to this point has been like the very like middleman, very like, okay, we're all talking about this person, but let's give this other person a chance to talk. And I think people like respect that a lot, and it doesn't come off as like her trying to push her way, because I feel like if she doesn't want it to go the other way, she wouldn't have brought it up. So
right, because like I don't think anyone put her for like the mistakenly running the game or the smartest or anything. So like she's just so underestimated, which is crazy because we see her doing so much.
Agreed.
Yeah. I found it quite interesting in like the early stages of like post noms, that Cody was campaigning to outbid JP in the uproot. I feel like pretty much everyone immediately was like, yeah, it's going to be between you and Trinity. Like, let's keep it that way. And Cody was still trying to push, like, he wants to be uprooted. Like, let's outbid JP. Do you think that that was like a valid strategy that he was doing, or do you think that he should have just cut it like right away after like someone said no?
I mean, Cody had to have known he was in a hot seat. I feel like people like Kai told him he was in a hot seat, so I'm not going to blame the hustle for trying to just like make sure you were a completely like you could not possibly go home. So I don't blame him for that. But like if nobody is biting after like the first two people you talk to, like you should probably focus more on making sure you have the votes to stay than making sure you have enough seeds to get off the block. You know, like I feel like you're wasting too much time. Like if everyone's telling you no, people are going to start getting rubbed the wrong way. So you might as well just start campaigning. But I get why you did it. I mean, if we were on the block, we would be paranoid as fuck.
Guilty.
Aston.
So we kind of see it earlier and like in the post-nom set of Trinity mentioning, I think she mentioned it to a few people, that her and JP made a deal to vote out whoever was nominated third because they both knew that they were going up. I thought that that was quite interesting to go out like announcing that to people.
You do it, but you don't say it. You do it, but you don't say it. Several times I've sat on that block and knowing that that person next to me is going to get themselves off, I'm making a deal because I know my ass doesn't have enough capital. Girl, you keep it quiet though. You keep it quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we saying it?
I was like, that's bold because like if JP's coming down, which we all know he is, like that could be an easy thing of, well, JP and Trinity are working together, and if we don't want Trinity here, like we really need to get her out now because if she has like Dylan and now JP, like, she's getting more allies than we thought she initially had.
Right, but it's like if you're barely in this game, if you were like that close to being the vote, like take what you get and just don't be fucking crazy about it. Just be thankful. Like go, I don't know, don't do that. Just do it and don't do whatever was happening.
Agreed.
I'm trying to find what we haven't talked about
I
yet because
know.
we've jumped so much around.
I have one.
I know.
Oh, go ahead.
You're the one messing us up, girl.
Sorry,
yeah, we have a list.
My bad. Mackenzie's confessionals for me are helping. I already felt like Mackenzie was fierce as hell, and she's smart, and she knows. Once again, she has a perspective on the game. But her confessionals and her saying Kai and JP are her number ones. Of course, Connor's in there, but her acknowledging that Connor has heat on him, and that's good for her. I just was like, Mackenzie, I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you, mother. Like, it's great to see your mom doing great things.
I liked her confessional. I wish we would have gotten more information because like she gave us like the tidbit of like her and Kai and JP being together, but then she said like I'm in the middle of like two alliances and didn't name the other, which like I'm assuming the other is like Cody, Louie, and Connor. But like I would have really loved to like see her insight on that because like we see her now acknowledge like Connor will be going home eventually, like hopefully soon, which I thought was very interesting because I feel like we haven't seen any of that discussion between the two yet of like, okay, like we know one of us will eventually go, or even like Connor in his confessionals saying anything about Mackenzie potentially going home. So you kind of see Mackenzie setting herself up for later to just Connor, and he's gonna have to be okay with it.
I really want to see some conversations between them one-on-one because Mackenzie has really like not been doing much. Like she has put in the work to save him like very nonchalantly, but she has made it very clear that she knows he's in a hot spot and like it's kind of not up to her to save him, and just like emphasizing the whole like we're playing separate games. But I want to know, like, is that really going to happen? Because it's kind of been impressive so far. Like their games do intertwine a little bit, and like she's done a lot more to clean up his mess than because he hasn't really had to do it for her at all. But I wonder, like, are we ever going to see them like have to battle it out? Will she just let him go? Like, I think we need to see one of them on the block to really see like what kind of game
What
they
it
are
looks
going
like,
to play when it
what
comes
it's
to each
given.
other.
Mhm.
But it's been like
For
it's
sure.
been fun to watch so far because like there's like not even a hint that they are dating to the other people.
Yeah. No. Speaking of like Mackenzie and kind of her playing the game and stuff, her and Dylan talk about holding a lot of the sway in the house.
That's my next
And
bullet.
and how like they should target Trinity to like keep the conflict in the house between like Cody and Connor. And then like it also kind of pushes them to get in good with Kai.
Mhm.
I thought that was quite interesting because like for me that was giving very Mackenzie saying I want Cody here so when Cody takes out Connor it's not on my hands because like who is one of the only people that can take out Connor with the reason and that is Cody. And I just think for her it keeps her alliance of Cody, Connor, Louis and herself kind of in since Trinity is not really in the mix of what Mackenzie we've seen
Right.
up to this point.
Mhm.
Yeah. I want to point something out in that conversation. This is one of my biggest LRG icks, and just biggest reality competition icks is when someone uses the term voting block. I think we could really do a voting block right now. That to me is like it's like it's an open relationship of an alliance to me. It's saying like we can seek other things out, but we can like come back. But I think in the game specifically, like voting block there's no commitment to, and so if someone says we should be in a voting block, I'm like, you are not committed to me in that way. I just am like, Dylan, just say an alliance. Just if you feel like you're that good with Mackenzie, just like be a little more straightforward. Do you guys agree or am I crazy for that?
Yeah, I feel like I like to use the word alliance more than voting block because it at least gives the impression that I want to work with you for more than just one round.
Right.
But if we have not worked together all game, I still wouldn't use the word voting block. I'd be like, hey, like it is what it is. We know what it is. Like you and me. But for this round, like we both can have like a common agenda. Like
Right.
propose in different ways. Like this person going to be good for both of us. But you don't say like, hey, let's just put in a voting block one time.
I don't know. I feel like voting block like makes sense in the ways of like this season specifically. Like they got like killed immediately because of an alliance. So I think that's like a very bad word to this group now.
That's
But for
fair.
me personally, I think if you say voting block and like you work with the people that one round and then like you target them the next, like you never said that we were in an alliance, so now you can't be mad. Like we voted together, cool, but like because if you say that you're in an alliance, like even if it's good for 2 rounds and then like you have to turn on them, they're gonna get pissed because you said alliance. So if you say voting block, there's like really it's a very loose term, and that's like something that as a nasty game player I would.
I see why you love it. I see why you
Yeah,
love
you
it.
nasty bitch. I like
Uh,
voting blocks. I just don't like the words voting block because I don't
Yeah.
think you propose it like it's a voting block. You're just like, hey, you down to clown this
I mean, I
round?
wouldn't say like voting block. Like I would push it as like these
You
people are
would
gonna vote
lie.
together
You
this
would lie to their
round.
face.
I would say these people, let's vote together this round because we all have similar interests. And then next round, if we don't, we work together one time.
You would never say that. You would make it seem like you were
Clock
their
it.
ride or die, and then you'd be fucking nasty and say, "Oh,
Uh,
we were just a voting block."
Clock it.
But if I never say voting block or alliance, they can't be mad.
Whatever helps you sleep at night, you nasty.
I was gonna say, babes, any game you play, someone is going to be mad at you specifically. Like, any game
Looks
you
at
play.
Squid Game.
Justified. Anyways, we could talk about how gross Papa is, no matter who you are in any game. But speaking of Greenhouse Season 7, I don't really know where I was going with that, but I was just trying to segue
Land the plane,
off of
girl. Land the
Papa.
plane.
Um, Not Jackson watching this and saying I'm the nastiest. Girl, that's literally you. Anyways, so we see a conversation with the Black Girl Magic group of Aaron, Kai, and Courtney that kind of solidify it. And then Aaron tells Kai that she should block her and Courtney's vote, so they have 2 extra banked votes for later on. And then you see Kai and Courtney kind of be like, maybe we shouldn't, because you don't want to put the target on the 3 Black women working together. I found that very interesting because that shows once again Aaron went in the banked votes, and she is trying to hoard all of them for herself. So for later on, she's the one ally that you need to make the moves, which I think is really smart.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I do think.
Yeah.
I think you probably could have got away with, like, I think she could have done one of them, blocked one of them. I maybe have missed it, and I apologize. This is jumping ahead. Kai blocking Stephanie, that seemed random to me, but did I just miss something? Or
I was literally so confused. I was like, I don't think this was discussed anywhere. So, Taylor, did you hear anything about
No, and I thought it was confusing because if I was Kai and I was wanting to save Cody, I'm not saying that Steph would 100% vote Trinity. I'm just saying there was a really high possibility that Stephanie was going to vote Trinity. So it was random. So I am guessing that there was some conversation we didn't see where this happened, but I was also very confused.
I just put a text out to the creator, to the Greenhouse God, to see if we can get an explanation by the end of the episode. We'll see.
So I feel like one of the last big things we see before the end of this episode is Taylor, Kai, Aaron, Mackenzie, Courtney, and Dylan. Basically, all the voters are in a room and they're talking about what's better for them, either long term or short term. And I feel like this is like a very big moment for Aaron because like we really got to see like her thought process about like truly what she felt in this moment about who was better for her. I felt like that conversation was really good, but I also was like, okay, Aaron, maybe we should like calm down a little bit because like you're the only one saying specifics on like who is better for you long term and short term, and everyone's just being very vague.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Time and place.
I think when you're in a situation like that, you're with all the voters or you're with a chunk of people. I'm guilty of this, but you should not be the first one to share a lot. Like typically, you can get away with it with some things, but I feel like you should be at least the second or third person to share a little bit, but don't share as much as everyone else. So a little nervous about that, but I don't know. It's always interesting to me when people like the voters want to hold court. Like they all want to get together because all of you have different agendas. So are you buying yourself 1 round or 3 rounds? Because a lot of people I think listen in those and are like, oh, I agree with that thinking, but you're not thinking far enough ahead. And you're saying it in front of people. So there's accountability that can be held. I don't know. It's not my zhuzh.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it is dangerous for Aaron to like just go and saying a lot, but also, and I feel like my read's a little bit wrong because I feel like for us, we kind of see her as like more behind the scenes and not like super in anything until like kind of this round or like building up to this round. So maybe it is good for her so people know she is like here to play and like they can rely on her to like give some thoughts. But yeah, it's scary. Like I would never like give you a rundown of like who is good for my long game and why.
No.
Hell no.
But at least her wheels are turning and maybe it's just going to show she's not as disposable. I don't know. Because I mean, Kai was in that conversation. I feel like she's been talking with, and Courtney was in the conversation, Dylan too. So I think it was only scary because maybe we don't know where her head's at with like Mackenzie and Taylor. But maybe like she was truly comfortable in this group.
But like you're telling me the thoughts of all like 6 of those people align, and like their whole game's trajectories are in that same place. Like that's the thing that I'm just like, I get like all wanting to be in the room if you're voters and like deciding who to vote because like you want it to be clean cut, whatever. But like that is never good for every single person in that room to sit there and be like, yeah, I want this person to go for this exact reason.
Well, you know what? As first boo of Greenhouse 8, do not come for Mother Erin for wanting to be honest with her allies. Thank you.
No one has any idea what you're talking about. Moving on. Anything that we missed, Brady, before we get into the banishment?
Just to close out the auction, JP gets the uproot for 3 seeds. How's that feel? Is that good?
Yeah.
That's my only note we've missed so far, which we haven't missed it. We're just, that's the direction we're heading.
How do we feel with JP getting uproot?
Good for JP.
Yeah, it was never you anyways, babe, but
I don't think it would have been him, but if it gives him peace of mind and like knowing that he's safe prevents him from like doing too much of a scramble, I think it's for the better. You know, people won't be worried about his like JP seeds. So like it is what it is. If someone was gonna get it, I'm glad it's JP.
agreed.
Do your big one.
Yeah, do your big one. Very brat.
So final nominees are Cody and Trinity. And like we said, Kai blocked Stephanie and Dylan's votes. And before everyone went to go cast their banishment votes, it was the final time for anyone to snatch a wig. And JP, Trinity, Courtney, and Cody all snatched their wigs. Do we think it was smart for those 4 to snatch their wigs or not?
I don't think Courtney or JP needed to.
I don't think anyone needed to.
Right. I mean, and I didn't think Cody was going to.
Yeah.
But I get why he did.
Yeah, you know? maybe it'll buy something.
Like
it's just gonna cancel out with Trinity, so
I thought it was really interesting that JP and Trinity snatched their wigs before they were even officially nominated. Mm-hmm. And even then, I wouldn't snatch it right when I get nominated. Like, especially if you're JP and you know that you're coming off the block.
Right, babe.
Like,
hold on
what
to that
is the reason?
I think but also, like, we know how these wigs feel. So, like, if you're pretty sure, you know,
it was warm. It was warm.
You know.
But for me, I'm like, JP must have been kicked out of the Portland rock band and they were like, you can't wear the hair. And you see JP's hair matches the wig. So it was kind of confusing. Like, maybe it wasn't a wig all along. Maybe JP got a haircut.
That was crazy.
And he met Jessica at Sonic for Red Bull Slushies. Like,
stop, Sonic.
Leave her alone.
Mother.
But yeah, Trinity is banished in a vote of 8-2, with Courtney being the only one to split her votes. How do we feel about the banishment? Rest in peace.
Yeah. I mean, it's a hard one because I think either Cody or Trinity, we would see them fighting in the next round. But I don't know. Like, it just, I kind of saw it coming after a while, you know?
I did too. I think Trinity, if I would have seen just the first round, I would have predicted Trinity going almost all the way to the end at least. But it just, that momentum just got completely stopped.
Yeah.
And I would love to see her play again now that she kind of understands, and hopefully maybe she watched back like how it all went down. I would love to see her realign because she has the charm, she has the charisma. Like, you're interested in what Trinity's up to. I think she just lost the momentum and didn't fight hard enough to get it back.
Yeah, I think she would like be a force in another game for sure. And also because even when she was like giving her last, few pitches, I don't know if she was saying, I can't remember who she was saying this to, but she was outside kind of like leaning on the door and saying like, like this is the last round before a jury. So just like think about who you want, to be here with, like who would be more fun to play with. Whereas like, I think if she could have she was probably in her head at that point. If she could just been like, like who, I think she should have basically focused on saying like, I'm going to be a meat shield, people are going to come for me, but I'm loyal. But even though she didn't make those specific arguments, you did see her still kind of trying to sway it at the end. I just think she was bummed.
I think her speech was terrible. I do. Like, to me, her speech when she was up there, she was like, I'm a good player. Cody's a good player. And you could go with me if you want to play with me, or you could go with Cody, but you are going to go with one of us. But I'm like, everything you're saying is like, Like, you're not doing
I
anything.
kind of forget her actual speech. I was talking about like before that, but
Yeah. And that's
I don't
what
really remember what she said in
She
her
will never be
speech.
Daniel.
either, so.
You know that. When giving a speech, she will never be Daniel.
Never.
Or Seth. Just missing the comedic relief this week.
But
I need a hair tie. Hold on. You guys can keep talking.
Not a hair tie.
For what?
I think we should just jump right in to the last of it for the MVP. I'm starting this week. I'm gonna go with Kai. I think Kai has so much information in this game. Did you put on a new wig?
Well, yes.
I think Kai truly has what it takes to make it to like top 6, top 5. I think she could be the victim of a nasty fly trap. But I think right now she's playing a stellar game. And at the end of the day, if Kai does not win the season, it will be rigged. I will be canceling the network, and I will never watch again.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there is a very obvious answer for MVP this week, just like last week, because women are ruling this season. I have to say, like, Kai just like ate everyone up, and we all love to watch it. She's killing it. She's planting her seeds. No one's really looking at her yet, and she's just doing well. I will have to give honorary mention to Erin, though I know there's a little bit of disagreement whether she should speak up all the time. I think she is putting in the work, and I think she also has, she's doing it in a way that works for her. So I have to give my props to those two.
Yeah. I'm going to also give it to Kai, and I'm throwing in Mackenzie. Like, I truly think that Mackenzie is positioning herself well and getting away with it. And even if she had a prior connection that she's clearly able to work and, like, not manipulate, but she's able to play on a layer that other players, well, a lot of players actually do have, but she's really working that connection. So I want Mackenzie to get her flowers too.
We just love when women.
Love that. Am I giving Jonathan Van Ness right now?
You're giving
from like Sheen.
You're giving something.
Okay. You're giving that you're gonna watch The Greenhouse at the link below.
And
watching Sunday and Thursday.
On Saturday nights, Hot Takes and Big Mistakes with Piglet and Brady. Don't forget.
Let's also shout out Piglet's wig as well. We saw Piglet in the work behind
Piglet
that
was giving at that banishment ceremony. You could just tell
right,
she
everyone,
was living.
go like, subscribe, watch, rewatch, support Taylor Luke and the Greenhouse series. And if you haven't watched Dilemma, super fun game that you can play along with. And we hope you celebrate Bob Week these last few days.